What's going on, YouTube? This is actually my first YouTube video, so as you can tell, a lot of this is going to be, out of nerves, um, incredibly unscripted, which is why I also printed out some notes that I wanted to touch bases with. The microphone and the audio may seem a little off. I did purchase microphones and stuff like that, so that will be coming in the next couple of videos as well too. I'm having them charged up right now. So I do apologize if the audio was kind of iffy. It's mainly about PTSD and why it's not truly anger. When PTSD is activated, your nervous system isn't really choosing dominance. It's choosing control. I know that I can speak for myself when I can say that once in my lifetime, control once meant safety. As an individual who is diagnosed and clinically diagnosed with PTSD, while I was younger, my body and my nervous system learned one simple rule. If I was overwhelmed, if I overwhelmed the threat, then I wouldn't be overwhelmed. And for a long time, that response. And so when I felt as if triggered or attacked, I needed to dominate and overwhelm the threat itself, so that way I felt like I was in control. Whether that be in arguments, physical altercations, chaotic environments, anything such as that. But what I would love to say clearly is because a lot of people carry shame around this. A lot of people are scared to be vulnerable, especially with the fact of they may live with PTSD, such as myself. But that response that we had didn't make us broken. It didn't make us dangerous, and it didn't make you a bad person. I know that there are times in life, especially for myself, where you feel like you are a horrible person, especially for how certain situations were handled, or certain outcomes of situations were not, correctly how you pictured it in your mind, and you or yourself may have, had a lot of bad hurt feelings and emotions and things to be, worked through. But that does not make you a bad person. What it did was it kept us alive. It was a survival mechanism that we ultimately developed within our nervous system and within our mind. It was created. Our nervous system adapted to an environment where hesitation wasn't safe, where being small wasn't safe, where being quiet wasn't safe. So naturally, our body learned speed, pressure, intensity, and control. That wasn't a character flaw, that was just a sense of survival. As I grew older, why it feels like it becomes such a massive problem, it's not that the problem isn't the instinct inside of us that it exists. The problem is that the armor deploys faster than our conscious mind can catch up to. It's within a split, instantaneous second. Life changes, the environment changes, and also the threat changes. Whether it be people, circumstances, anything. Even while, in deployment areas and combat areas, certain environments change where our conscious mind cannot catch up to how quick we are reacting and responding. But our trauma responses don't update automatically. So now the body reacts like it's still back there, even when you're back home, even when you're back stateside, even when you're dealing with family members or friends or people in the public. Our body reacts quicker than what our mind can catch up to. And suddenly we are the ones that are dominating the conversations. We're escalating the conflict. We're shutting people down or shutting people out completely. Or feeling like you have to overpower every situation just to feel safe. Because again, if you overwhelm the threat, now you are in control. Whether that's in a argument with your significant other, you may feel as if you're dominating this aspect of your life. And it's not because we want control. It's not. It's because my body or your body may be afraid that it's losing control, and it's an instant reaction. Again, another personal reflection, without diving too deep into my own personal life, was for a very long time I thought something was always wrong with me. As a matter of fact, I always knew something was wrong with me ever since I was a child. And I would always think to myself, why do I go from calm to intense so fast? It's almost like a light switch that is very hard to control. You know, 1 second you flip that light switch on and the light kicks on, and then all of a sudden when you're not in control and there's some sort of altercation or argument or anything going on, it's like that light switch shuts off, and now you feel compelled to dominate on every aspect, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and intellectually. You feel as if you have to dominate and overwhelm that threat to feel like you're in control so you can feel safe. Why do I always feel like I have to take over the entire room? Why does my body react before my mind even catches up? Throughout the entire course of my entire life, and also trying to figure out every ounce of my own existence, what I've learned is this, and this has also helped me with my field of study, which is psychology. I'm a psychology student, and I will one day go into the field of helping other veterans such as myself with PTSD, and also being a child of the foster care and the system. I do plan on giving back in that way. But what I've learned throughout my entire life, and also through the courses of my study, was that my nervous system wasn't choosing aggression. It was choosing a sense of protection. It was trying to make sure I never felt like I was powerless again. It's almost like a separate entity that your mind creates in order to protect yourself. This is what they consider survival mode. It happens when, us soldiers, us veterans are in war zones. It happens when even a child who is a part of the state, you know what I mean, and you're not surrounded by loved ones, families, mothers, fathers. It's a sense of protection that your mind and your nervous system create. After understanding all of this, it doesn't excuse the amount of harm that has been done to me, but also the amount of harm that I've done to people. Through all the breakups that I've had to endure, through all of the lost connections and lost relationships and lost friendships that I have endured, it's not an excuse for the amount of conflict that I have gone through or endured or have endured on other people. It doesn't excuse crossing boundaries, and it also doesn't excuse losing control. But it does remove the shame. A lot of us individually are afraid to be vulnerable because we feel that amount of shame inside of us when we feel like we have to overwhelm our threat. Whether we have to dominate in an argument or dominate physically, that level of shame, that level of guilt, that level of hurt, that level of pain, it's on a very deep emotional level. And shame itself and that fear of feeling that and being vulnerable enough to express that, what I've noticed is contributed and held a lot of individuals back in life. They shut down, they start to segregate themselves from other people because they don't want to react that way. And so now you feel shame and guilty for the things that you do. And so you try to do the opposite of by not surrounding yourself with so much. So now when we remove that shame, something else becomes possible. A choice. A mental cognitive choice. A lot of people will discuss that path of true healing. And I will give you the raw, ungodly truth that the path of healing is never ending. And what I want to be able to relate to is healing this side of us. It isn't about killing that instinct that's inside of us. It's about trying to slow it down. It's about creating a pause between that activation and that reaction. That pause might be one breath, one moment of awareness, one choice to delay your response. That 1 second, that one glimpse of time, that one pause is the difference between changing everything. Because that moment that you can take that singular pause, you're no longer reacting, you're choosing. The real strength isn't the domination part. The real strength behind all mental illness, especially within the realm of PTSD, is the restraint and the awareness that's around the stigma around individuals with PTSD. A lot of us may be labeled angry, violent, scary, hurtful, selfish. I apologize. Siri decided to chime in. It's about the level of self-awareness that's around PTSD and how to operate with inside that realm of dealing with this condition. It's knowing that at any second you could overwhelm a situation, but you're choosing not to. Not because you're weak, but because you're no longer at war. I was at a meeting with my therapist, and for once in my life, at 36 years of age, tears started to come down. And metaphorically, I told him, I officially want to put this suit of armor to rest. I no longer want to go to war with inside myself, but also I no longer want to go to war with other people. And that's a tough choice to be able to make. And it's a tough choice to be so self-aware of how you yourself, even in the smallest of fractions, are the contributing factor to the conflict that is around you. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard thing to look at yourself in the mirror and have to admit that you yourself are also a contributing factor to the amount of things that have gone at play in your life. But what I'm also here to tell people is, like, you're not alone. If this response kept you alive once, it deserves that respect, not hatred. It doesn't deserve that respect of judgment from other people. It deserves that respect that you went through the ring of fire in this metaphorical piece we call life, but also choosing how you adapt to it is the true strength and the true courage around it. If you're learning how to guide through this and navigate through this difficult conflict now, that's not a failure. That is true growth. I talk about this a lot more deeply in my book. It's called The Child Called Home. This is the final edited manuscript. We are working actually on the cover design now. This is where I break down how survival patterns form. In volume 1 here that I've written, it took me about a year to write. It has a lot of emotional depth that's behind it. Volume 1 is based around my actual childhood itself. It's a personal psychology memoir that's also navigated for children who fall victim to the foster care system, who have to navigate through, the system itself and learning how to grow up, learning how to surround yourself with foster families and not having, that structure that's around you. It's also where I break down how survival patterns form, and also how it followed me and how it may follow them into adulthood. At the end of each book, I like to self-reflect and give the lessons that I've learned, not out of some sort of conceited way. It's just my way of giving back on how we can all learn to live without being ruled by the stigma around mental illness that is around you and around other individuals. This work isn't about becoming someone new. It's about understanding who I am even more on a deeper level. Throughout my life, I've had to rebuild my life on numerous occasions, and on each occasion, I've had to learn even more depths about myself. And at 36 years old, I'm at the point where I am fully aware of everything within inside me, but also within how to operate around the entire world as an entirety. This book here, which I'm going to keep pointing up, and I do apologize, this is my baby. I put my blood, sweat, and tear into this. I'm also, putting myself on a line about being incredibly vulnerable, not only with myself, but with the entire world, to show where true strength is found. My book, my life, it's also about understanding who I had to become. So that way I, at some point in time in my life, can finally choose to decide who I want to be now. That I am not broken, that there was a level inside of me where I had to adapt. And now I'm learning how to truly live. So with that final message, if this truly resonated with you, if you are an individual that deals with PTSD, if you are an individual that either deals with children in the foster system, or you yourself are a child of foster care, my channel is meant for us. It's meant for everyone who deals with mental illnesses and anything at that point. But mainly it's about building a community based around love, about a community based around being able to coexist, not only with inside yourself, but also inside society in general. And to find love even in the truest, oddest places of life. Again, this is my first video. I would love your honest feedback. Even if it is negative, I always love criticism in order to help build and grow and to make things stronger and better. If this resonated with you in any way, please like, share, comment. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys on the next video.